Hello, runners. Hope all of you are doing well. This is Coach Bala, and extremely excited to share this weekend's message because for many of you, this is the last long run in our structured training program, the last week of peak meso cycle. What a fantastic milestone this is. What an incredible achievement this is for all of you. As we have discussed in the past, our journey is the destination here. The journey to the start of a race day is the destination. And when you think from that perspective, your hard earned journey is slowly and steadily coming to an end, and which is a very special um, feeling. And I congratulate all of you for this humongous achievement. Fantastic. Good job. So for today's message, I want to give 3 thought processes, all tuned towards getting yourself ready for the race day, which will happen in 2 weeks' time. We will have a separate podcast, a webinar for race day prep next weekend. So that will give you a tactical suggestions on how do you think about getting yourself ready for the race day. But what I am talking about today, or what I would like to talk about today, is what are some of the things that you need to understand that helps you in this journey towards race day. 3 points that I want to touch on. Point number 1 is around the concept of why we are having a taper week. That means after the peak meso, we are going to have 2 weeks where your running distances actually comes down. Some might think that, hey, we are reducing the distances, won't it reduce my training? So there is that legitimate question some people have. So I want to talk about why that is important. The other point that I want to talk to you about is that why is it that in our training cycle, we don't train for the entire distance? Now, this is another legitimate question people have, especially new runners. So what I mean is, let's say you sign up for a half marathon. Half marathon is a 13.1 mile run. But our long runs in our peak meso will be around 10 miles. You don't go more than 10 if you're experienced half marathoner, max 11 miles. Or in other words, you never train for 13 miles. Same thing goes for full marathon, 20 miles is the max we ask you to run during the training cycle. If it is a 10K, 4.5 miles is the max. For 5K, it's about 2.5 miles. So always the distances that we ask you to run is much lesser, about 20-30% lesser than the actual race day distance. And some might be thinking that, hey, if I'm going for a math exam, shouldn't I be like preparing the entire 100% syllabus and actually do a couple of practice tests that, the entire 3-hour, all the syllabus test, instead of just doing only 80% of that, something doesn't pass my smell test. So that's a legitimate question and I want to answer that. The third point that I want to talk to you about is, who is your competition? It's a philosophical question, but it is the most important question that you need to be very clear as you approach the race day. Who and what is the competition? How do you think about this? It's an important element for us to understand and internalize, because if a wrong answer to this is guiding you, then you guaranteed you will have a bad time on race day. Bad time as defined by your performance or your experience not meeting your own expectations. And the problem is not your performance or your experience. The problem is your expectation. It's the denominator which is not set correctly, and as a result, the numerator can never catch up on the denominator, and hence the fraction it's only a fraction of the experience that you can get instead of the whole experience. So these are the 3 points, important points, and I really would like you all to not only listen to this, but think about it and sort of get yourself tuned. So let's start with the third point, in fact. Who is your competition? Now, there are many answers to this question. Many people would say, I would like to sort of run with my running group, so I would like my competition is my peers. My competition is this one random person that I'm following in Strava, same age, same everything, but we started at the same time, but he's suddenly doing a lot better than me. And so that's my competition. There are many answers to that. All of those answers are not the greatest answer. The greatest answer for the question, who is your competition, is it is yourself 3 months ago, 6 months ago, or even a week ago. That is who you're competing with. The version of you that was able to do whatever you're doing right now, say before the training and after the training, that is your competition. If you are able to get that sorted out very clearly in your head, then you are in a zone where you are trying to outdo yourself, given the circumstances that you are in. So that is level one. The next level of thinking about competition is also, given what your situation is right now, you have a certain goal for yourself that is attainable, and you are trying to reach that, and that becomes the competition for that day. So for instance, on item number one, you can say my competition is my PR that I had done 8 months ago in the same course that I ran. And I'm feeling very good. My training has been better. I'll try to outdo myself on from that day. That's a competition of yourself competing against you a couple of months or some time in the past. That is one way of competing. The other way of competing is you come into a race day and you know that you've been, this time you've been inundated with so many other life issues. Maybe your training didn't go well because you had to travel a lot because of business reasons. You have some injury going on, just coming back from injury, some other life instances. So the very fact that you are there on the race day start line itself is a huge milestone for you. So at the time, you're setting yourself up. So the given that I have this, where I definitely can't be my best today in terms of historically, but I feel that I can do this much time, and that becomes your competition. So the goal here is you are always competing with yourself. When you do this, you typically have an experience of either meeting it or overcoming it. Even if you don't meet it, it's okay. You have tried your best to compete against yourself. You only lost to yourself. So in that way, you don't feel that bad. And you feel successful, literally not snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. That's what happens. If you compete against someone in a long distance race, here is what will happen. Let's say you compete against, or in mentally you're competing against this person in Strava that you've been running with, is your neighbor, same age, same experience, you started at the same time, everything same, at least from your understanding. But in reality, long distance sport is a sport of truth. Truth as in what your body can deliver and your mind can deliver, that's all it can deliver. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You can fool the world, but you can't fool your body. You can't fool your mind. So let us say, given the circumstances that you are in a half marathon, the best you can do is 2 hours, 30 minutes. That's it on that given day. But you somehow want to compete against this digital twin of yours who is a friend, who is exactly like you, everything is the same, and he's doing 220. And you're saying, I want to do 20. I'm sorry, you can't do it. You just can't do it. You push yourself and your body is able to do 230. That day you just went berserk and you were able to do 228, let's say. That's one of your best efforts. Now, the same 228, through the lens of what I was saying, that whom you're competing, is a huge success for you because you've done 2 minutes better than what you could have possibly imagined. You should be like just running around, feeling really, really happy. But instead of that, if your denominator is that friend who you thought you're competing against, and he did a 220 easily, and you struggled and huffed and puffed and you made a 228, the same 228 is giving you a lot of grief, a lot of feeling that, man, I couldn't do well, whatever, negative thoughts, which is highly unwarranted, and it's almost stupid. It's actually stupid. More than unwarranted, it's a stupid thought that allows you to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. And this is something, it is not an imaginary conjecture that I'm saying. This is something I've seen it many, many times with our runners, with every runner. People feel bad after finishing a full marathon because they missed out by a couple of minutes. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you really kidding me? You just ran a 5 hours, 30 minutes full marathon. trained hard for 18 weeks, did everything that you could do. Just 2 years ago, you couldn't do a mile. And today you did a full marathon at 5 hours, 30 minutes. And you are feeling bad that you missed out on 5:20, which is what you wanted to do because of that competition thought process. And so you feel bad. Are you kidding me? This is a textbook definition of snatching defeat in the jaws of victory. So in conclusion, what I'm trying to tell you, the key point that I'm trying to tell you is figuring out whom you're competing with is a very important part of a long time, long distance running experience that drives positive mental and physical change in your sort of constitution. It's very important. It's an important element to make sure that you are setting this up correctly so that you can keep doing it again and again and again, and you're in this journey of life, health, and fitness. Hope you get that point. Now let us talk about point number 2, which is why is it that we are not training for the entire distance in our training program? So let us take an example of a 13-mile run. When you are at a 13-mile run, let's say half marathon, we train you for 10 miles. Why not 13 miles? So the way you need to understand this is what happens or what is needed for you to do a good race day performance. Let's start with that. So I would say there are 3 or 4 elements that goes into a good race day performance. First one, I would call it as luck. That means you need to have a good weather. You are, that day you slept well that previous night, or you didn't have much competing thoughts, so you feel good. Some days when you go on a run, you realize, right, you feel really good. Not for any particular reason. Something has clicked that day. So that's a little bit of a luck. The course is good. You're coming on the right time. You had the right food. You feel energetic. There is not much niggles in your body. These are all things that makes a positive difference in a race day experience. The second one on a race day experience is your aerobic strength. The aerobic strength is an ability, or what we call it as, what is your ability for your heart and lungs to provide the power that is needed to do race. That aerobic strength is a clear function of your training. Your miles matter. How many miles you have trained, how long you have spent time on foot. All of this is what creates the aerobic strength that is needed for you to deliver on race day. That's the second element for a good, successful race day. The third one is the nutrition strategy. During the race, pre-race. So what you need to eat, did you do it properly? All of that, we do this in training. It's totally doable if you just follow the salt tablets, the gels. If you just follow what we are saying, you can do that. That's a highly controllable input to the race day. And don't get me wrong, people still make rookie mistakes. I'm talking about people who are in the 5th and 6th full marathon will still make mistakes. I don't know why, that's human nature. And then suffer it out. But this is something you can easily control, the nutrition side of things. And then the fourth thing is the mental side of things. That means mentally you are steady, you are strong to drive your body to the distance that you need to do for the race day, right? So these are the 4 elements I feel has to come together. If all of these 4 elements are like 100%, then you have a fantastic race day. If 1 or 2 is not functioning well, then accordingly your race day performance gets impacted. So now coming back to these 2 elements, the mental strength and the aerobic strength. So let us say you need 100 units of mental strength and 100 units of aerobic strength to be in place for you to deliver really, really well. Now, if you look at that as a goal, because luck and nutrition is something luck, you can't do anything about it. Nutrition, yes, you can totally control that. So that's out of the equation. So these 2 variables, the mental strength and the physical strength, if 100 units are required for both for an ideal performance on a race day, when you do any long run for that matter, let's say you do a 7-mile run, your aerobic strength increases, but at the same time, your injury also increases. When I say injury, not injury like sprain and that type of stuff. I'm talking about the muscle tear that happens when you run. That is the part and parcel of running. So there is an increase in aerobic strength. There is an increase in sort of these micro failures, the seizures, that the fissures that happen on the muscle fibers and joints and other places. So it's never possible that you do a long run and you don't have any impact on your body. Never. Body will get impacted. But the only difference is you give sufficient time for the body to mend itself, and hence, when the body mends itself, your aerobic strength is increased, but the body has mended itself, so your training gap is getting higher. So the entire point when you look at this is we try to manage in such a way that the aerobic strength increase, raise of aerobic strength increase because of a long run is always higher than the raise of the injury that has happened because of the long run. So as a result, there is a delta positive that even though your body is a little injured, your aerobic strength has increased. So the goal here is we want to make sure that you reach this 100 aerobic strength with as less injury as possible. Yeah. So that can be achieved by doing, let's say, a 10 mile instead of 13 mile. The aerobic strength that is required for you to propel on the race day for the 13 mile is already achieved by doing 10 miles. By doing 11 miles and 12 miles, I will go to 110 and 120, which may not be required, as I said, for the race day. But unfortunately, in the process of getting 120, you're also increasing the risk of injury. And when the injury is increased, then it is possible that your aerobic strength is there, but because of injury, you are not able to give you the best possible outcome on race day. That is the reason why we always manage your long run to as much as is required or as less is required for a good, successful race day. And that's the 10 out of 13, 20 out of 26. You get the right enough level of aerobic strength. At the same time, you're minimized, or as much as possible, minimize the impact to your body. And as a result, you are having and maximizing the net positive between the aerobic strength and the injury. That's how you think about this. Now, the reason why the last 3 miles we don't train for is during a race day, there are things that you do that you don't do it in long run. That always helps you to do better. What are those? You do carb loading, you do morning food, you take maximum number of gels, you're running with hundreds of people, and the race day adrenaline is going to drive you a little bit more. And as you approach, let's say, the 11th mile or the 21st or 22nd mile, your mind is looking at the reward that is going to come, which is not available in a long run. The reward is you're finishing the season, you're finishing an historic achievement of your life, you're going to get these medals. That's a reward that motivates you dramatically as you're coming closer and closer to the finish line. And that itself is this combination of crowd and combination of the perfect nutrition strategy, the combination of this reward that is waiting for you. All of this gives you an additional aerobic strength and the mental strength to do the 3 miles and 6 miles that is there that you haven't trained yet, and you complete it with as less injury as possible during the training cycle. So hope all of this makes sense. So in summary, when you do only a small, like 80-85% of the distances, you are able to get the right amount of mental and physical strength that is needed to succeed in a race day with as less injury as possible. That's the basic setup that I want you all to understand. And that's why today's run is important, the last long run of peak meso cycle. Then this lends itself naturally to the third point, why taper? So the idea here is, folks, as you finish peak meso cycle, you have reached aerobic strength 100, mental strength 100, or maybe even 110. And you know that you are body and mind-wise are just getting ready. Then we do the taper, and the idea of taper is we allow the body to quickly recover from the effects of peak meso cycle, but not letting go of the runs, because you also need to keep your body and muscles supple and be ready for run. It's not a rest week anymore, but it's a taper week. And the idea of taper week is you bring down the volume of runs, but still maintain the runs. But by reducing the volume of runs, you are allowing body to recover from the impacts of peak meso cycle. And because your body recovers while being primed, come race day, you are, the theory is you are ready mentally, physically, in the best possible shape. And provided if you have the luck and God's grace and the right nutrition strategy, you are able to provide command performance. So that is the thought process that ties in all of these 3 elements together. And I am so proud of all of you that you have reached that point in the training cycle. where you can think about these things and we come together and deliver a wonderful race day. Okay, so that's what it is, guys. On other news, this is Saturday morning. Cannot wait to see many of you. Of course, unfortunately, it'll be only for the tri-state area runners. Many of you in our first RHWB mid-season party, and we'll throw in a little bit of, should I say, Garba dance as well. But it's really a mid-season party where we meet each other, just say hello, put some face to the names that we have, we know, and just enjoy each other's company. At the end of the day, Runner's High mission is not about running, as we have discussed before. It is about discovering, creating, and connecting amazing human beings. That's really what it is all about. So this is a very important milestone in achieving that mission. Almost 100 of us have signed up for it, in spite of being a Navratri weekend, and I know a lot of you have different prior commitments. As a result, you may not be able to come. But those of you who can come, do come. It'll make it worthwhile. It'll be a wonderful party. Runners' party is always nice. It's full of good people, good energy, positive energy. We have some games and a few things that we'll do. We'll have some nice dinner. And then we'll have these Garba dance. I've never done this before, never been to a Garba dance. So I can't wait for some of our Guju friends to teach us how to do this and do this together with all of us. So looking forward to it. It's not only open for, it's open for everybody, your friends, your family who are not part of RHWB. Please, most welcome. You can still buy tickets as I say this. The links I've sent it out. And it's at 6:30 p.m. today, and can't wait to sort of have some good time with all of you. Also, the race day is coming up, our New Jersey season-ending race day, which is slated on the 19th of this month, October. I've sent out an email with all the links in your final search. Check it out. Definitely do join in. Bring your friends as well. This is a great time to show what is the magic of RHWB for your non-RHWB friends. So many of our runners have joined us after coming to the race day and saying, oh my God, this is something I want to be part of. So it's not just for you. Sign up for lunch. We all have lunch, have medals. Just, think that by till 1 o'clock, you should be doing this. Meeting people, running, and just having, celebrating life and the magic in motion. Okay. So that's really what today's messaging is all about. Thank you for all your feedback on the NPS survey. We received 550 responses. We'll be doing some analysis and we'll be sharing the results of it in our final for you, which will happen after the race day. So can't wait, folks. Thank you for everything. It's been a pleasure working with all of you on season 12 on behalf of all the coaches, I can say, all the management team members. Let's bring this baby home and take some break and then come back for the 2025 seasons. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm already started thinking about the next season. But that's how it rolls, isn't it? Season 12. Good luck, guys, and we'll connect soon. Take care. Bye-bye.